An Airbnb host tried to unalive me and my dad.
Pretty mind, pretty grind, yeah, I said what I said. Manifesting better things while we lay edges to bed.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Pretty Mind channel where we talk beauty, mindset, and everything in between. If you enjoy real talk, you're in the right place. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you're feeling generous. So today's video is Airbnb horror story times, and you're gonna want to stay till the end because the stories were insane. It's unreal. Like, imagine an Airbnb host pulling out a sword on you and chasing you with it, trying to stab you. Like, oh my gosh.
An Airbnb host tried to unalive me and my dad when we were on a skiing trip in Colorado. Here's the story. Okay, so my dad and I take a yearly skiing trip. We always go to Colorado and we go ski in Vail, and we always get an Airbnb because that's how we roll. I think just like with everybody else, there's always like this underlying fear in the back of your head, like what if something were to happen? I always feel the same way, like in an Uber too. Like, are you ever really sure who you're renting this home from, and is it actually secure, or can they just break in the middle of the night and do something crazy? So this specific Airbnb that we stayed at was like the basement of a home in Colorado, and we rented it from this really nice older woman who we met when we got there. So we got to the Airbnb, we met her, and she let us know that she would not be staying in the home while we were there for the weekend, but that she had a roommate and that he worked a lot and that he would come in late at night and go to sleep in his room upstairs, and that we would have the entire basement to ourselves and we wouldn't be bothered. So we go to sleep on the first night, we have no issues, we wake up the next day, we go skiing, and then we come back for the evening. I took the bed that was closest to the stairs, and my dad was in a room that was like on the other side of the basement, kind of like farther away from the door to the upstairs. Okay, so I go to sleep on the second night and I'm starting to kind of drift off, and then all of a sudden I hear this guy upstairs and he's talking to someone, and they're like yelling back and forth, and this conversation is getting pretty heated. I couldn't exactly hear what they were saying at first, but as they came into the room, I realized quickly that the room that he was staying in was right above the room that I was sleeping in, and I started to hear that the one guy was yelling at him that he was like such a screw up and that he could never do anything right, and they were cussing and all of these things. And then the guy that I assumed lived there started to respond and say that he knows and that he might as well just off himself, and they continued to go back and forth until I started to notice that the voices that I was listening to talk back and forth were actually the same voice, but the guy was just changing the way that his voice sounded and the inflection in his voice as he was talking to himself and then responding back to himself. So I got freaked out, but eventually like he kind of stopped doing this and it got quiet, and I assumed he went to sleep, and so I nodded off and I went to bed. Next night, come home, drifting off to sleep. He comes home, I hear him enter the house, and the same thing starts over, but this time it's like even worse. He starts to throw things, stomp on things, and he's yelling to and from himself to himself, back to himself, and it's just this very like angry, negative self-talk, and then him responding saying that he was going to do something homicidal that night. And he started to knock and bang on the ceiling of my room. So the floor of his room that he was in and the ceiling of my room, he started to scratch at it, and he would knock on it and he would stomp around on it. He knew that we were down there. At that point, I hear him start to run down the stairs, and he would like run down the stairs and stomp, and then he would stomp and go back up the stairs. And so I get up out of the bed and I go out of my room and I stand at the bottom of the basement stairwell, and I'm looking up at the door that's at the very top, and he's running down the stairs, and then he would come and he would stand right in front of the doorway to the basement, the entrance to the basement. I stand there for a little bit and I can see like the shadows of his feet, and when he runs down the stairs, he gets really quiet, and he would like creep up to the door and stand there, and just the shadows of his feet would be below like the door and the crack, until he started to jiggle on the door handle and stick his fingers through the bottom of the door and jiggle on the door handle. Then he would run upstairs and like throw things around, and then run down the stairs again and come and start jiggling on the door handle and trying to move the door. So I went and I got my dad and I woke him up and I was like, hey, The guy that lives upstairs is probably having some sort of mental episode and he is trying to currently break into the basement. What do we do? So my dad wakes up and he comes out and he's like, what's happening? He comes out and we're quiet and we're listening, and this guy is yelling upstairs, yelling at himself, running down the stairs, trying to open the door. So we immediately realized that this man is not in his right mind and that who knows what's going to happen if he actually is able to figure out how to open the door and get into the room. We tried to contact the Airbnb host and we were not able to get a hold of her. It was too late in the night. So my dad grabs a knife out of the kitchen and I grab a knife out of the kitchen, and we had to escape through the window of the Airbnb basement. So we had to escape through the window and then crawl up this hill and crawl around to the back of the front of the house and call the cops. The cops came, they opened the door, we were able to get in and get all of our stuff and pack and leave. And when we talked to the Airbnb host and asked her what is going on with this guy and told her that he was losing his mind and trying to enter the room and was talking homicidally and suicidally to himself, she said that she had never had issues with this guy, that he's a young, really nice young Christian man who works for a delivery service in the town that they live in and is a Christian missionary on the side, and he was saving up money to become a Christian missionary. We were not able to get the cops. There was no warrant on the house or anything like that, so they couldn't go in and actually confront him because it wasn't, by that time they had gotten there, he had gone upstairs and put himself away in his room. So nothing came of it, but we had to escape an Airbnb. And I will tell you right now that while I have not learned my lesson and I have stayed in Airbnbs since, never again will I be locked in a basement of someone's house while they are home.
Why are Toronto Airbnb hosts so up? This Airbnb host really tried. I'm gonna tell y'all about it while I put on my lashes. If you're like me and you have trouble putting on the strip lashes, trust me, this 10 times easier. For my birthday, I booked this gorgeous Airbnb. So one of my friends was downstairs about to get ready, and she noticed a camera, a bird's eye view on the entire common area. That was where the discomfort set in. My boyfriend covers that immediately. He then goes on a hunting rampage to see if there's any more. I received a message from the host shortly after stating that she noticed that the cameras were covered. Miss you watching us? I responded the next day when I saw it, letting her know that the towel will be removed because we barely were there. Didn't even matter no more. Y'all see this? Time to do this eye. I also asked if there were any more cameras located inside the house. I tell y'all I'm still waiting on a response. It's time for me to write my review, and this is what I said verbatim. Danielle's place was absolutely stunning and spotless. The attention to detail was evident, especially when it came to the decor. My guests and I were impressed. I stayed to celebrate my birthday, and the host welcomed me with flowers and a bottle. What a kind and personal gesture. This experience was unmatched, and I would certainly stay again. It was nothing short of luxurious. Tell me what I write that for. Thinking everything cool. Trying to be supportive of a black female with a new listing, trying to hype her up. That's what she said. So-and-so and her group were pleasant guests overall. Minor complaints include excessive makeup stains left on towels, bedding, furnishings. What? Excuse the to me, but if the towels weren't for us to use, what were they really for? If makeup was on the bedding, miss, put it in the washer. What is the cleaning fee for? Carry on like we take a bunch of makeup and just throw it about the place. And continues by saying they also covered the security camera on property, which is against the house rules. But overall, polite communication, respectful of all the other house rules. I would host her and her group again. Don't do that. You're not gonna have my potential host thinking that I be leaving the place nasty. So I replied and said, thank you for your review. However, I do find it irrational to use the terms excessive and stains, as it was an all-white house and something easily removable as makeup would inevitably rub up and show on any white linens and fabrics. Also, I believe it would have been more accurate to expand and state that the security camera was located inside the home and covered due to an invasion of privacy, as females were in the home getting dressed. We were essentially being watched during our stay. When asked about any other cameras inside the home, the question was ignored, making us feel uncomfortable and uneasy. Thank you again for hosting us. I used to conk for being nice and being supportive. I took it a step further and I reported her. Because how you gonna go against Airbnb policy and then write what you write on my page? No. When I reported her, Airbnb pretty much opened up a case to investigate the matter. They apologized several times. So in the end, they reviewed the matter. I got a refund. I got that hideous comment removed off my page. I tried to play nice, but for context, you cannot have a camera on the inside and your guest is like, surprise, camera? No. I knew nothing. She ain't gonna do it again. Fish out.
These girls checked into an Airbnb and found a hidden door behind the kitchen counter. And what's even weirder is that none of the doors in the house can be locked. You heard me right. All of them can't be locked. They opened the door and saw the stairs winding down to the right. The first girl looked at it for 2 seconds and then closed the door saying, "I'm not going down." Anyone who knows how to watch horror movies knows that she will definitely survive to the end. But the girls couldn't resist their curiosity and went downstairs hand in hand to explore. Then, the first red flag, there was writing on the wall which looked like child's writing. Was it a playground or a prison? No one was sure. There was also a tic-tac-toe game. Then here comes the point. There is a bearskin rug, a strange cabinet, and a basin of cat litter at the bottom of the stairs. The atmosphere is so weird. The most terrifying thing is, no one knows how deep this underground space is.
What is that? What is that? Okay, so now that I'm back in Ohio, let me tell you how I felt like we was about to get trafficked at our Airbnb in Detroit. I was supposed to stay the entire weekend, and we was there for 24 hours, give or take. I was supposed to have the Airbnb for the entire weekend. Supposed to check out today at 6 p.m. Everything went good the first day. We get up there about 3 a.m. There's nothing else for you to do besides go to sleep. So we end up going to sleep. The next morning, I go to the meeting. I got a meeting from 12 to 5 p.m. So the girls went to have breakfast, do their own little thing while I was at the meeting. They picked me up. We end up going downtown just to hang out, check the scenery, get some food. Everything was good until it wasn't. We get back to the Airbnb. They want to go skating. We go skating. At this point, I'm tired. We supposed to be watching the movie. We get snacks. We get popcorn. We get everything, to watch the movie. So, y'all, I'm telling y'all on my iPad so I can show y'all on my phone. Let me tell you how weird this shit got. So, it's 3:40. It's 3:40. And my phone blowing up, but it's a Detroit number. And I know I ain't gave nobody my number down here. So I'm like, this is so weird that somebody keep calling me. Not thinking nothing of it. I silenced the phone. They called me 5 fucking times. 6 times I answered. I'm like, hello? So to remind you, me and the guy from the Airbnb, we were writing on the Airbnb app. So therefore, Airbnb can also see your messages. So we kept it writing on there. I don't even know you can get people's number off there. So he like, hi, is this Brian? I'm like, yeah, this is she. He like, I need you to move your car. And I'm like, can I move it later this morning at around 7? Because that's the time I'm getting up. He like, no. He's like, okay, that's fine. Cool. I go back to sleep. Like 2 minutes later, he called me again. He said, actually, no, I need you to move it right now. So I'm like, okay, let me find the key. He like, okay, hang up. So he called me. He like, that's why I'm like, I didn't see no cameras, y'all, but this got me creeped out. So he called, he like, are you want to move it? I'm like, yeah, I'm looking for the key right now. And he's like, are you looking? Like questioning. Like, I see you ain't up. I don't know. But I'm not thinking none of it. So I'm like, yeah, I'm looking for the key right now. And he's like, well, I can come down there and help you find it. So at this point, I'm like, come down here. Like, where the fuck he at? So it's already got me nervous. So my nieces, all 3 wake up at the same time. They're like, y'all hear footsteps upstairs. So I'm like, at this point, I'm like, okay, like, just stay calm. So he called me back. He like, I'm going to come down and help you find it. I say, no, I'm going to find it. At this point, I'm being stern. Although I'm a little scared, I got to be stern because I can't let you know I'm down this motherfucker sweating for real. So I'm like, no, I'm going to find it. So he's like, okay, fine. Like 2 minutes later, y'all, he called me back And he said, like, well, I can't find it. Like, I'm looking for it, but I can't find it. Like, I can move my car in the morning. And he like, no, I need you to move it tonight. And I'm like, why tonight? To remind you, y'all, there is no fucking none. There is no snow in this man's driveway whatsoever. He like, it's 4 a.m. by this time. He like, oh, I need to shovel the driveway tonight, so I need you to move it. And I'm like, shovel tonight? He's like, yeah, I want to go ahead and start right now. So I'm like, okay, this is so fucking weird. Like, you're not about to shovel no driveway there's no snow in here at 4 in the morning. So I'm like, y'all pack y'all shit, we leaving. Like, I just had one of those vibes. I'm like, pack y'all shit, we leaving. So we end up, as we're packing, he called me like 8 or 9 more times. He like, are you coming? So I stopped answering for a minute. Then we called like, are you coming out? I'm like, yeah, I'm on my way out now. And he like, okay. My truck was the only car parked in the driveway. Y'all, he had done pulled in backwards, blocking me in, but you're asking me to come out here and move. So I'm like, this shit is getting so fucking weird. So in the midst of us grabbing our stuff, we hearing footsteps go back and forth upstairs. People, we ain't done heard this shit. So all of a sudden we hear hella footsteps going back and forth upstairs, somebody knocking on the door. So I'm just like, get y'all shit, come on, get your mace out, get y'all shit. We about to walk out this door together. So I already, like, when I get to the top of the steps, I'm already unlocking the car door. I'm like, just throw y'all shit in the car. We about to pull off, then we organize later. Y'all, this man thought I was coming out there by myself. Why when I go out there, his like I said, his car was backed in. He looked and see all of us came out together. He jumped in his car and he pulled off so fast. So fast. It was crazy as fuck. Like, he didn't call no more or nothing. So the things that got me weird is, for one, you calling saying you want to shovel. For one, you got my number off this Airbnb site. For two, you calling saying you want to shovel this snow that there's no fucking snow at 4 in the morning. You called me 14 fucking times, and then you telling me like, no, don't wake nobody else up. Just come out here yourself. Is you fucking stupid? Like, it was just so much weird shit after weird shit after weird shit. So once he seen that I didn't come out there by myself and I was with them, he jumped in his car so quick, y'all, and pulled off. You called me 14 times, so when we come out, you get in your car and pull off? Y'all, it was spooky as fuck, right? So I'm like, let me call the Airbnb support center. So y'all know how something happened and then you'll look back at shit and be like, dang, like, it was so weird. So when we was about to leave, I was like, dang, I should grab my gun. And my niece was like, I already locked the door. So I'm like, it's cool. Like, I don't need it. Not thinking no weird stuff was going to happen. My niece was like, I got anxiety. Like, I don't know. I just feel weird. I'm ready to go home. So I'm like, wow, you ain't having fun? She like, yeah, but I just want to go home. I just took an anxiety pill and a motion sickness pill. So I'm laughing like, girl, what you take a motion sickness pill for? Not even like, look, y'all. Go look, y'all. From 316 to 347, that man called me 14 times just for me to come out there so he can shovel the snow that was not there at 4 in the morning, and wanted adamant about me coming out there by myself. Y'all, that shit was so crazy. And I did not want to drive at night because it's the roads like towards Toledo. Once you got up that way, I know they're terrible. They're terrible on the way there. And then it's dark. So I'm like, damn, but we got to get out of here. I didn't even give a fuck about none of that, for real. After a while, like, I didn't want to drive, but I'm like, I have to. Like, we really have to get out of here, y'all. It was so creepy. So I called the Airbnb support center. And y'all know how, like, when y'all on the phone with somebody, it just echoed. That's all it was doing, straight echoing. So I'm just like, this is crazy. I can't even get in touch with these fucking people. Like, and I feel like I was there for 24 hours, if that. I was there for 24 hours for almost $300. Like, I'm just glad we home. They had already shoveled Saturday morning. That's why there was no snow in their driveway. But when he seen that we all came out at the same time with our bags, he literally got in his car and zoomed off. So like I said, it was like my back was towards his back of his car. Like, I was facing this way and he had backed in so he could just pull out quick. He didn't say nothing to us. Nothing. Like, that shit was so scary. I was out of my body. I'm like, where did these people go that we just heard? Like, why did this man just call me 14 times to get me out here, seeing that we all came out together and skirted off that fast? Like, it was just so fucking scary. Like, he was so mad when I was like, I'm waking my sister up to find the key. He was like, no, don't wake anyone up. Just come out here. Like, y'all, it was crazy. So, like, 2 hours in, I'm tired. I'm like, I'm about to pull a McDonald's and take a nap. Although they all got their license, I don't trust them driving on that highway like that. Everybody is in the middle of the highway. Like, that's how bad it was. Nobody was in their own lanes or nothing. It was crazy. There was so many cars on the side. So I'm just like, I just want to get to Ohio. Like, I'm literally praying the whole way. Like,
trying to get her to go outside, and we still hearing stuff upstairs.
It was crazy.
It was different people.
That's all right. All right. All right, bye.
He was saying 7 in the morning, okay? Just show me this now. Listen.
Yes, this is him. He never said anyone will be home or anything, but he literally just reached out to me a couple hours ago after I left the review, trying to make things right, but there's nothing you can do.
Rapid fire Airbnb horror stories. I'm going to start this off by saying 99% of my experience of owning all 3 of my Airbnbs for 4 years now is amazing. It's positive. People are wonderful. Like, they truly are. I've had such good experiences. It's so fun. I love giving people a good experience and all of that good stuff. However, you are also dealing with the public, and the public is not the sharpest tool in the shed. So sometimes the public be off their rocker. I don't really know how else to say it. So I made a list of a few like incidences or stories that have happened that I have had to deal with, and we're gonna run through them rapid fire. Number 1, this gentleman was checking into the house. I just have a door code. That's how you get in and out of the house, check in, all of that good stuff. He said he was punching in the door code. It wasn't working. So I always have a backup in case it dies and my app doesn't alert me that the battery is low. So I told him, here's where the spare key is, blah, blah, blah. He was like, there's no thing here, like what you're talking about, blah, blah, blah. And he was getting really, really frustrated. And the cleaning crew had just left like an hour before he was checking in. So I knew that it was working. My app was showing it was working. All of that good stuff. Turns out he was at the wrong house. So when you book on Airbnb, you obviously get the address of the home, but what else do you get? You get pictures of the outside of the home. Tell me why he was at a green house when my house is white. Okay? He was literally trying to get into someone else's house. Looked like he was breaking into someone else's house, sitting here getting frustrated with me. You're at the wrong house. Okay? Number 2. Dog poop, the dog poop story. This lady checked out and left dog poop all over. Not smeared, truthfully. Real nice, just little piles, right, of dog poop everywhere on the living room carpet. Fun fact, to get out of the home, you literally have to walk through the living room on the carpet to be able to even get out the front door to leave the home in the first place. So she clearly walked by it. It's not like it was hidden in a corner that she didn't see, whatever. Anyway, message her, right? Because I have to get a whole new carpet. My cleaning crew charges me more. I mean, it's hazardous waste, right? Turns into a whole thing. So she starts to say that it was her child and the poop must have fallen out of its diaper. First of all, definitely didn't. It was like perfectly situated dog poop everywhere. Number 1 and number 2, I guess. Why are you blaming your child? Weird. Weird. But also number 3, you would have seen all of it. I don't care who it came from. How embarrassing to leave someone's home, a hotel, an Airbnb, whatever, and just like leave literal shit. Moving on. Nothing else to say there. I had someone who, the cleaning crew went in to clean the home, and there was a chair. I have some cute little furniture, of course. The girls are gorgeous. I have some cute little furniture in the bedroom. There's 2 little chairs, and they were like moved, which is fine. Sometimes people move furniture, get out of their way, whatever. But the chairs weren't in the usual place. They were on the other wall. So the cleaning crew goes to move the chairs so they can vacuum. Lo and behold, behind the chair is a giant hole in the wall. Giant hole in the wall. Okay. So message this lady, of course denies it, when I know it wasn't there because we also take photos before people check in. So any damages during their stay, I have proof of, which I also noted, send photos, blah, blah, blah. And then she finally, which again, you're just point blank admitting you're lying to me, was like, fine, my son did it. And we tried to cover it up. Next up, I did have this crazy lady who left me a bad review because she took her dog on a walk and another dog in the neighborhood barked at her dog when they were walking past that other dog's home, and she didn't like that. So she put that in the review, and then she also said that there were people living in the attic. She was off the rocker. Just all of our messages back and forth made no sense. Like, she did not live on this planet. So I actually asked her to leave because I just felt like my home and my possessions, and honestly the neighborhood and the neighbors were unsafe. Like, she really thought people were living in the attic. First of all, there's not even an attic in the house. So moving on, last one. Okay, this was probably like the worst, again, out of the 4 years that I have owned these 3 homes. Everyone really is super respectful. But this high school kid, and I wish I could share this video with you guys because I have cameras around the houses, obviously, right? Obviously, it's 2025. But this literal kid, which is why I can't show you the video because he's a minor, after homecoming, threw a party at the house, right? Which is fine. We've all been there. We've all been in high school. Luckily, I grew up in high school where, like, cameras weren't on fucking phones yet and social media didn't really exist. So we got to be real kids. But he threw a party, absolutely trashed the house. Trashed. The cleaning crew gets there the next day. There's not even a door handle in the front door. The front door handle to get into the home, missing. Okay, there's literally like socks on top of the fridge. There's boot prints on the bed. All of the carpet completely stained. There's liquor bottles all in the bushes, the driveway. The pictures are like off the wall, fallen down. I mean, they just annihilated the place. Absolutely annihilated the place. So I went back on to look at all the Ring cameras. That night, it's like 3 a.m, right? They're out on the like patio drinking. Again, fine. We've all been high school kids. Like, I love that. I wish kids could be kids more, but unfortunately, everything's always recorded and is on a fucking cell phone and social media and whatever. But anyway, so he was like, oh my God, it was really funny to watch all of them, right? A little nostalgic, right? We all used to do what we used to do. But he was like, oh my God. So I watched hours of footage of them partying. But one kid was like, oh my God, there's a camera right here, which, by the way, is disclosed when you book the home because legally you have to. He was like, don't worry, guys, I got it. He sits there and he stacks beer cans to cover the like Ring doorbell camera. Well, first of all, misses, so I can still completely see everything. I can see all the kids' faces going in and out, underage drinking, all of that, right? So again, because you damaged my home, I unfortunately had to get like authorities and all that stuff involved because the person was not paying. So turns out the kid to book the home used his real name, which he was underage to book the home, so not allowed anyway. Well, Miss Google knows everything. So I Googled and I found his parents. His father, this kid was a golf athlete. So his father, turns out, works for the school district. What did your girl do? Your girl called his father at work. I get his assistant. I said, hey, can I speak to Mr. So-and-so? Absolutely, who's calling? Oh, well, this is the owner of a home that his child just destroyed throwing an underage party at. And she was like, oh, I'll get you right to him. So get over to him, talk to his dad. Anyway, that's a whole other story. But that was probably the worst. The home is fine now. I got it all situated. But really, that's really it, honestly. Those are my horror stories. Again, out of 4 years and thousands of reservations. That's it. Most of them are so great, so good. I meet the coolest people. I'm so glad I get to give them like such a wonderful experience. And it really has taught me a lot and just been great overall. So I hope this doesn't scare you away. It's just kind of fun to share some of the silly stories.
It is 9:30 at night and I decided to wave my hair and put on some lashes, but I also decided that this would be a great time to share with you all me and my husband's Airbnb horror story. My husband and I decided to go visit some family in Texas, and we haven't been there in a very long time, and we decided let's book an Airbnb so we feel more homey. Obviously, I booked the Airbnb prior. I went based on reviews and I went based on photos, and the place seemed very, very nice. It was a whole house. Don't ask us why we got a whole house for our stay for just 2 people, but we wanted something that was really, really nice instead of booking a hotel that felt more homely, so we booked a house. Upon arrival of the house, now mind you, Texas is hot as shit. and it was very hot when we arrived. The house was set to 75 degrees, so it was 77 in the house. It was very, very warm, and we arrived literally at the hottest time of day. When we went to the thermostat, we noticed that it was locked. I contacted the host. She said it shouldn't be locked because the person who cares for their house, they don't live in state, so the person that cares for their house, they know to not lock anything, and it was locked. So thankfully we went on YouTube University and we were able to figure out how to unlock it. Another thing just to keep in mind, I did have my parents with us because they were also visiting, and they did not stay in the house with us. They were staying with family, and they did a whole sweep of the house with us once we arrived. Once we figured out the whole AC unit, we went upstairs. The one upstairs was not locked, so we're able to turn down the temperature upstairs really cold, so that way the air can, travel down, and, slowly but surely the house did cool down. I did notice that the microwave looked like it was used. Besides it being dirty, we also noticed that there was a lot of humidity in it, as if somebody had just cooked a meal, which I thought was really strange, but I didn't think anything of it. And then I also noticed that there was crumbs all over the floor, and yeah, even though everything was very organized and nicely decorated, it was just not the cleanest. My husband and I decided to stay in the master bedroom downstairs because we didn't need the whole upstairs. Again, don't ask us why we booked a whole house, but we did. And pretty much the upstairs was going to be vacant, and we decided to stay in the master downstairs. I stripped the bedding. There was random hair in the bed. It was really gross. The bath mat in the bathroom had hair all over it. It was just like, there was a lot of good reasons at that point for me to get my money back, just based on the filthiness of the house, but it gets better. I took photos of everything, and then they did have a vacuum, so I vacuumed everything up afterwards because I didn't want to stay in a house that was kind of dirty, and just had crumbs everywhere and like dead spiders and stuff. So we decided to go out for dinner. We come back and we noticed that the house was nice and cool, which was nice, but then we also went to the television, which was the only television in the house, which was in the living room, unfortunately, none in the bedrooms. Decided to sit down, watch some television, and once we went on Netflix, we noticed that it was only kid shows that we were allowed to watch. Everything else was locked. If we wanted to log out, you couldn't log out because that was also locked, which I thought was really, really strange. So we were able to download Discovery Plus, which is fine because I like watching a lot of Discovery, and that was the only app that we're able to download and get on to actually watch some shows that we liked, where it wasn't going to just be kids stuff. As we were watching television, didn't say anything to my husband, but in the meantime, he was like, I'm not really like sure about this place. Like, it seems a little like weird. The area seems a little strange, and like I feel like we probably would have been better off in a hotel. So he went ahead and was like, I can't book anything for tonight. I don't care if we lose the money on this place, as unfortunate as that sounds. And anyone hearing this right now probably think we're absolutely nuts, but we were trying to go with our gut feeling, and thank God we did. My husband did go ahead and book us a hotel, but we did have to spend the night in the house because there was nothing available that night. But I said nothing to my husband, but as we were watching television, I did hear as if there was somebody walking around upstairs on the second floor. So I didn't say anything. He didn't say anything. I just kind of looked at him and said, you know what, let's just go to sleep. So we did. We went into the master, locked the bedroom door, made sure everything else was locked as far as windows, and we decided to go to bed. A few hours passed by. It must have been like 2 or 3 in the morning, and my husband wakes up abruptly and goes, did you hear that? And I said, no, I didn't hear anything. And he was like, I just heard something like as if somebody was upstairs. And I said, okay. I said, well, listen, the door's locked. If we hear something again, then we'll just call the police and just be like, listen, we're in the bedroom. We're not leaving the bedroom. This is the access to the house. Just get into the house and scope it out and see if there's anyone here. Didn't hear anything else the rest of the night, but in the meantime, my husband did not sleep, and he was searching through TikTok about our area that we were staying in, and it apparently was not the safest area that we were staying in. The next morning, we get ready. We decide to go out for breakfast, and we came back. And when we came back, everything seemed fine. We started packing up our bags because we knew we were gonna leave the Airbnb and just not say anything to the host. And then I noticed that the microwave had humidity inside of it, again, as if somebody cooked. Now, mind you, after I saw it the first time, the day before, the humidity did go away after a while, but then I noticed it again, which freaked me out. It didn't smell food, but it seemed like somebody was cooking in the house. Packed up our bags, I went up to the second floor because I was like, all right, let me just check everything out. Let me just lower the, higher the temperature in the house because we didn't want to leave it freezing and, you know, obviously cost money to run the AC. So I said, let me just set it to a normal temperature so that way the house is comfortable for the next person who arrives. I was setting the temperature to the thermostat and I heard like a banging on the window, and I noticed that the window was open and the blinds were making noise from the wind. And I was like, wait, what? Was not open the day before and thought that was strange. I closed the window, turned around, and I noticed that the closet door was slightly slid open. And I thought that was pretty weird. Went into the closet, went to open it, and I saw that there was a door. Now, it's very common in Texas to have a door from your closet that leads into your attic space, which is just like insulation. It's just like a dead attic space. But when I cracked the door open, I noticed right away that it was not an attic and that it was indeed a room. So me being me, I ran downstairs right away, grabbed my husband and said, we need to leave right now because there's definitely someone staying in this house. I don't know if they're here now. And I don't know, maybe they're gonna come back. I have no idea. Maybe they know we're here. Maybe they are just squatters. Maybe it's the person who cares for the home when the owners are not around, but I don't wanna be in this house with another person, so we need to get the hell out. And we did. We grabbed our stuff and we ran out the door. Locked the door behind me, we left. Mind you, there are cameras around the house, so even if the Airbnb host were to look at her cameras, she would see if somebody was coming in and out of the house, unless this person was using the window upstairs to get in and out and was staying in that attic room, which actually was above where our bedroom below was located. So it made sense as to why we were hearing noises the night before because they were directly above us. Now, I did not personally see anybody. It could all be in our head. I thought we were crazy the night before until I saw what I saw, and that freaked us out enough to, just really just get out of there. And we did notify the Airbnb host. She was kind enough to give us our money. She did have someone go over to the house to do a full scope of the house, so I'm assuming she sent authorities over, and that is all we know. We don't know if somebody was in the house. We don't know if there was someone there while we were there. We have no idea. All I know is that we did get our money back, and she apologized profusely, and I'm very happy about that. And for that, I will not be writing a bad review because I don't think that's fair because she obviously had no knowledge of it. But yeah, guys, sometimes just get a hotel instead of an Airbnb. It ends up being, honestly, sometimes cheaper than doing an Airbnb.
Okay, so I'm going to give a story time. I can't give you it all because there is a lot, and I still haven't spoken with a lawyer. So again, if some lawyer out there is willing to take on our case, that would be freaking tastic because trying to find one that will take this on is proving very difficult. Okay, so story time. I was dealing with some stress at home, and my boyfriend's like, let me take you away somewhere. We decided on the Bahamas because neither one of us had been. Heard great things. Everything was good. A lot of people are saying, why didn't you stay in a resort or anything like that? We're not resort people. We've never really been resort people. We like our solitude. Dealing with mass amounts of people that usually have no common sense, especially when they hang out in hallways and gather and you have to squish to go by. It's just not our thing. So we like the boutique hotels or the Airbnbs and like to experience the islands like locals or as much as we can. So anyways, found this great Airbnb, had amazing ratings. Like, everyone just ranted and raved about this place. So I was like, awesome, this is perfect. We get there, the hosts are fine, they're friendly, they're nice, mind you, a bit quirky, just with some of the things they were saying, like Jan, he was saying something about like the CIA was watching him, and we're like, oh, okay. Mind you, they own a mushroom farm, so we were thinking, maybe they're just dipping into their own supply. Whatever. We had our first night there. It was an early night because we were both exhausted from traveling all day, and we just went to bed, woke up the next day, and it was beautiful. It was, the sky was shining, or the sun was shining, the birds were chirping, everything was perfect. It was like a little fairy tale. And our cottage, absolutely pristine, like so amazing. Probably one of the nicer Airbnbs that we've stayed in. Just mind you, everything that's happened. We made breakfast, went down to the beach, had a beach day. Jan kept coming down to the beach and like saying weird things and doing weird things. So for instance, he brought like a mason jar full of water and he was saying that there was 2 silver nickels in it, some like batteries and like copper wire, and apparently it's supposed to help for the bugs. So to appease them, we're like, yeah, thank you, Jan. So that's awesome of you. Like, we appreciate it. And then he would leave, and then about 20 minutes later would come back again. And this time he brought weights, and he's like telling my boyfriend, oh, you need to work out, like, I look great. But he's like, oh, you can't live like this, and like, rude, but also still being friendly. So, and just weird. Like, I mean, nobody really does that to other people. But anyways, so that was it. He left again and then came back one more time. And this time it was with medication. He had syndamycin, and he's giving us syndamycin pills and telling us that we need to take this every single day for 100 days. So that way, I don't know what it was, something doesn't get inside of us. And because, that something can be, very poisonous and very, very toxic, and just, sorry about that. Very, just very quirky, very like, I mean, alarm bells were going off, but again, we weren't feeling threatened. That was it. So anyways, we assumed that Elik, his wife, had at this point told him to like leave us alone. She didn't want a bad rating. So he stopped coming down. We got to enjoy the rest of our day. And then about, I don't know, almost 4:00 in the afternoon, we're like, let's go back. Let's go have like a siesta, make something to eat and stuff like that. So as we're walking back, because we have to go through their back gates in order to get to our cottage that is at the front. So we're going through, and Jan comes out. He's like, hey guys, you want to come in? And we're like, oh, okay, sure. So we go in, and they have like this little tripod dog, and I was like so enthralled with this dog because I love animals, and asking questions to Elik, and apparently somebody had dropped them off. Anyways, dog doesn't matter. Jan was showing my boyfriend something on the computer about something like Iran and Israel, and they're going to war, and my boyfriend said, I don't think so. There's a lot of countries in between. I don't think that will happen. And he just snapped. He pushed my boyfriend. Actually, we think he probably punched him because he has a bruise in the back of his side. I ended up taking pictures of it. And then he dropped a wine glass. I thought, like, because I wasn't really paying attention, I thought he just slipped, like dropped the wine glass because he had slippy fingers. So I'm cleaning up the wine glass, and at this point Jan is losing his mind. He's screaming like, get out of my house, and we're like, okay Jan, like there was little kids around, so I was like, I don't want anybody to get hurt. So I'm like, okay, not a problem, we're getting out, like I'll just take this wine, like this glass with us, and like I'm like cutting my fingers on it and stuff. And then the front door opens, and it's their worker. I don't want to mention his name because I don't know if he wants to be involved in this, but their worker, let's call him, I don't know, Ryan. So Ryan comes in, and he's trying to defuse the situation, and Jan has now pulled out like, it's like a short blade. It almost looks like a machete, but it's not a machete because it's got double-edged sword. Like, it's a double-edged sword. And he pulls it out, and Ryan is in the door frame like this, like, hey, calm down. And he just slices, and he cuts Ryan right here. And it was just anarchy after that. So Ryan's like gathering us because we're in shock at this point, and Jen is now coming after us again, and Ryan's pushing us out the back door. Realistically, we should have ran towards the beach, but we didn't. We ran around the side of the house. My boyfriend's like, we got to get our stuff, and I'm like, screw our stuff, let's just get the hell out of here. So we're running, and Jen goes out the front door, so he's cutting us off. I booked it. I was like, bye, and booked it through to the road, and my boyfriend is beside us, and then all of a sudden, a little bit later, we see Ryan come up, and he's like splurting blood like all over the place, and we're like, oh my gosh, like what the hell. So my boyfriend is like yelling, who has like a tourniquet, who has like a rope, I need a rope, and Ryan's like, use my belt. So we ended up making a tourniquet on his arm. We had stopped multiple vehicles. Two very beautiful, wonderful Bohemian women called 911 for us because honestly, I didn't even know what the number was. And somebody actually commented on that too. If you go to another country, make sure you know what their emergency numbers are because that is super important. However, they took really long time. So we ended up taking Ryan to the military base, which was just down the road, to get emergency attention because he was losing so much blood. I honestly thought he was going to right in my lap because we were trying to keep him away, keep his arm up, and it was just, I was covered in blood, just absolutely covered. So super traumatizing. I'm still traumatized. I may not look traumatized, but I've been on Ativan like daily a lot, and it's helping. I haven't taken one today, so I'm starting to get a little more twitchy. But anyways, sorry, I'm rambling now. Oh, okay. Okay, I'm gonna end this here, and I'm gonna make the second part because this is where you see this in the video. But this is the first part. I just want to make it abundantly clear that our hosts in the Bahamas were not Bohemian. They actually are originally from Holland, so they're Dutch. Nothing against the Dutch people either, but they moved there 4 years ago according to their Airbnb listing. I don't know, there's a lot of conflict going on right now in my comment section, and I'm not appreciating any of it, especially when you guys are throwing race into it. This has nothing to do with race, absolutely nothing. I have so much respect for the Bohemians. They are an amazing group of people. Every person that we have encountered the whole entire time we were there that were Bohemian, they were incredible. They were so sweet, they were so kind. There was just, I can't express how welcomed we felt from them. So I'm not saying don't go to the Bahamas. I'm not saying don't rent Airbnbs. I'm just showing you that this Airbnb that is located in the Bahamas, in Nassau to be exact, is not good. Like I said before, Airbnb has taken it off their listing. However, it is still on Vrbo and other websites. I'm just trying to warn people, that's all. And I'm even trying to warn the locals if they're trying to find a place. Sorry, there's a black fly. A place to stay that they may want to, I don't know. I rent Airbnbs local to me as well too. So I don't know. I'm trying to be helpful, and you guys are making me feel like I'm out for something, and I'm not. I'm Canadian. I'm not even making money off of this. I'm not a part of a creator fund. I'm literally, I have nothing to gain. And I'm actually degrading my mental health even further by going further into this. I will give the part 2. Just give me some time and stop being cruel in the comments. Stop making it about things that it's not. Stop making me out to be some horrible person that caused this. It's not. Also, for other people, Ryan is an alias name. Ryan, the name Ryan does not exist in this story. I am protecting the person I've named Ryan because I don't know if he wants to be a part of this. And I'm not dragging him into it. I'm telling my story. He has his own. If he wants to tell it, he can do so. I love that man so much because if it wasn't for him, I'm sure this could have been a lot worse. I wouldn't be making this, probably. So just keep it kosher, man. Like, just, I don't even know. Just, I'm fucking fed up. Okay, here's part 2 of our Airbnb horror story. If you've watched my last videos, you would know that the worker, Ryan, his actual name is Richard. I have spoken to him and he has given me permission to use his real name. And we love Richard. Richard is amazing. He's also healing. He's at home. We're all just doing the best that we can right now. So basically where I left off was that my boyfriend was placing a tourniquet on Richard. We had moved just a little bit down the street from where our Airbnb was. We didn't know where the host was at this time, both of them. We were just really focusing on attending to Richard and making sure that he survived because he was losing so much blood. So there was a few people that stopped. I said before that there was 2 Bohemian women. I don't know why TikTok keeps calling it Bohemian. I am saying Bohemian. But anyways, there were 2 wonderful Bohemian women that stopped, and they called 911 for us and an ambulance. However, they were taking way too long to get there. There was also a guy, a worker in the area. He's Montreal Canadian, so he was there with his truck. We ended up tossing Richard into the bed of his truck and taking him down to the defense military base that was just at the end of the road to get immediate medical attention. This was Richard's idea, by the way, so this guy is, hats off to him, because I was crapping my pants the whole entire time, not knowing what the hell to do, and he had such a display of calmness over him, and like he even said, he's like, I need to like stay calm and control like my adrenaline, and because he was losing so much blood, so he was able to actually do, I don't know, I'm bewildered by the fact that I'm just bewildered by him. Like, he's just an incredible person, and it was a lot. So anyways, we get to the defense base. They end up taking him. I lose my ever-loving mind, just break down hysterically. I ended up jumping into their showers fully clothed because I looked like Harry. I was just covered head to toe in blood. After that, we were talking to the military police. We told them that we had all of our belongings at the Airbnb and we needed to retrieve them. Like our passports, our wallets, our money, our clothing, like everything was there. They said that they would escort us there. And from there, this is where it gets crazy again. So we get to the property, and my boyfriend goes up to our cottage area to try and get our belongings. And the female host is in there with her baby and her other daughter and a sledgehammer, and she's refusing to let us in. She's saying to go, we need to leave, and we're like, well, we need our belongings, we need our passport, we need all of our stuff. She wasn't having it. My boyfriend went towards the police because the police went in the house to look for the male host, and then all of a sudden we heard a gunshot. We thought, well, that's it, that's done, but it wasn't. So as my boyfriend is approaching the house, all of a sudden Jan, the male host with the sword, comes up from the road up the driveway, and he's behind us, and we look back and he's kind of like charging at us. So we end up running around the truck to put distance, like to have an object in between so that way he couldn't attack us. I remember I fell over a cement cinder block and I like turtled on my back, and I was like, well, that's it, I'm done. Yeah, so I don't know, the cops, we started screaming. I don't know where Jan went when I was down on the ground. My boyfriend says he started going towards him. Then the cops came out of the house. More cops came up the driveway, and they were at gunpoint. At this point, this is when I started to record, because I was like, absolutely no one's going to believe this. So the police were able to apprehend Jan. However, he was resisting arrest and he was making it extremely difficult for them. They did pull the sword away. And at some point, I guess they were moving him. I can't even really remember, to be quite honest, but I have it in video. they ended up going towards our Airbnb, I guess because, again, he's resisting arrest. And the female host with her baby on her hip decided to grab the sword and was starting to go towards the police. I don't know what she was intending to do with the sword. Thankfully, my boyfriend ran up and ripped the sword away, and could have prevented something. I don't know. We're only speculating. However, she grabbed a sword. So, and then after that, she started to assault the police with her purse and with her fists. Again, this is all on video. So that all happened. They ended up getting handcuffs on him. More police ended up coming. My boyfriend ended up starting to record. So there's parts of that as well. During that time, I am trying to calm down her oldest daughter because she didn't need to see any of that. She didn't need to see her dad get arrested. She didn't need to see her mom lose her mind, and possibly get arrested as well too. They didn't arrest her because she had two children. So yeah. I was just asking her simple questions like how high she could count, how old she was, things to just like kind of take her mind off things, because you could tell that she was really upset about the situation. So after all that, we were able to get our belongings, all of our stuff, and then hightail it out of there. We did rent a vehicle off of the host, and for some reason we weren't thinking, we were just like, okay, well, we rented this, so we're taking it. So we took the vehicle, we ended up going to Margaritaville, and then after the 3 days there, we were like, we don't want this car. We don't want anything to do with it. We haven't even really traveled anywhere around the Bahamas other than Margaritaville at that point. And we're like, we just need to, like, can we just send the host a message and say, hey, your car's here, come pick it up? Or even just to drop it off at the police station. The police said, no, we had to go to the host's house and deliver the car, which was re-traumatizing. So we were at the police station, and the entire time we can hear Jan. He's there. He's certifiable. He is rammering on about all kinds of nonsense, saying that, he wants to off a judge, and then just going on and like saying, oh, it's a conspiracy, and da 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 da. Like, it was just absolutely just crazy nonsense. After that, we went to the house with police escort because we were not going back there without any. So we dropped the car off, and then we left. The police were kind enough to drive us to the airport, where we were able to get a shuttle to Atlantis, where we stayed the rest of the time. And on that very first video, that's where we were. We were on the beach of Atlantis on our last day, and I wasn't posting anything until I was back home. And it was nothing against anyone in the Bahamas. It was the fact that Jan got released that day on bail. Don't know why, but he was, and it was just more, it was in regards to that. Nothing in regards to the Bahamas or the Bahamian people at all. So yeah, that's our story. That's our, trouble in paradise. It was supposed to be a great vacation, turned into one that we will never forget. And, a little gift of PTSD. Anyways, there is new developments that have been told to me since I've gotten back home. If you guys are interested, I'll tell you, but essentially this is the last of the video.
It's about time that I introduce you to Richard. This is Richard. This is the man who selflessly acted in helping us while we were in the Bahamas. If it wasn't for him, I honestly don't think I'd be here today. Unfortunately, because of his selfless actions, he sustained injuries, incurring medical costs, as well as being unable to work because, well, his employer tried to kill us all. The amount is in Swedish kronen because that's where his family is right now, and they're trying to bring him home, and as well as help pay for his medical costs. So if you're able to donate, that would be amazing. I know everybody would be super grateful for that. Here is the conversion rate in Canadian dollars to Swedish krona, and then in US dollars to Swedish krona. And here is the link for that GoFundMe. I will say at the end of this, there are going to be some graphic photos of Richard's injuries. So if you're squeamish, end it now. This is right now of his thumb, and this is of his arm, and then a close-up of his arm. Pretty bad stuff.